A green-eyed, brown-haired man with glasses named Su Shun sat at his desk, nervously drumming on its surface and contemplating the fact that he was an ordinary college student. New discoveries allowed yesterday's student to turn his dream into reality, and now every 7 days, he lives a new life with a new identity. And now we see not a miserable student, but a man in a chic two-piece suit. He is accompanied everywhere by a long-legged secretary, because now Su Shun is not just anyone, but the chairman of the company. 100 banknotes are flying around all corners, because they have accumulated so much that Su Shun just does not know what to do with them. If he wants, scattered. If he wants, ignite the fireplace, because now he is the best killer. Soon he got tired of killing people and eliminating evidence, because sometimes you need to show the good sides of your personality. So Su Shun became a prophet, whose name became known throughout the land of the rising sun. Every person from small to large, regardless of rank and position, turned to him, the genius seer, to decide his fate. However, even this soon bored our hero, and he decided to retrain as a chef from the next week. Always on the job, and his stomach is not empty. From a small age, fascinated by space fiction, the young man secretly always dreamed of becoming an astronaut. Flights to Mars and Venus resonated in his drawings, so it's no surprise that his next identity is that of an alien rebel. Could it be that only he, Su Shun, is given the ultimate right to reconcile warring civilizations? All these weekly transformations and changes bored the young man a little. The only side effect was that the false memories from the previous week were superimposed on the current week, and sometimes Su Shun couldn't realize who he really was. But then the young man remembered the beautiful students and other lovely and angelic creatures he had encountered on his life's path, and all the troubles instantly disappeared. Is there anyone in the universe, he asked himself, who would not want to live such an exciting life? After all, everything is available to such a half-man, half-god. To cross 4 oceans, to go around the world, at least to conquer all the aliens and take control of the universe in his own hands. Although, who knows? Maybe it's better to be a monarch, like a king? No one on Earth knows that without having been in his skin. However, Su Shun himself is convinced that nothing is impossible for him, and he is ready for the royal throne. It was June outside. The hot sun so heated up the dormitory box that it was unbelievable to sit inside. In addition, the glare from the sun seemed to penetrate not only through the glass, but also through the walls and ceilings. Only the few people hidden in the shade of the lone trees in the alley seemed peaceful. But what is it? A street fight? You're just a fucking lowlife from 18th Street in a small town. I get more money for my daily expenses than you spend in a year, shrieked the voiceover character, scattering $100 bills and flicking his opponent on the nose. Here, this is your reward, asshole, he yelled. All in the best traditions of the genre. A young man of athletic physique with the habits of a bully, his opponent, a nerd with glasses, a girl, the root cause of the scandal, and naturally, a crowd of onlookers. The bully dismissively says, "From now on, stay away from Enzijing. You're from a different world." "Got it, dog?" asks the botanist his enemy. The gawkers take the rare opportunity to shout out, "Yeah, look at you! How dare you compete with Wang Tang for the prettiest girl in the class? Don't you know that his uncle is the vice-chancellor?" "I don't know what Enziking saw in you," echoed by another. "Wang Tang is very confident. He has tons of money. He is much cooler, ha ha ha. If I was as hungry as him, I would have gone to work as a dishwasher a long time ago." 2 guards in strict black suits are escorting a certain gentleman. Drenching himself in sweat, perhaps from the heat, perhaps from nerves, the third escort obligingly informs, "Mr. Lee, please come this way. Su Shun is here, but I don't know what he did to offend you so much." And so the showdown over the beautiful Enzijing moves to the school. The students notice Mr. Lee walking towards them. Is that Mr. Lee from Qingyun International Company? Yesterday in class, the teacher was talking about the incident at their place. Yes, I remember. It turns out that one of the executives of the main enterprise of Jiangzhou province came to our school. And then, against all expectations, Mr. Lee and his entourage bow to the floor. "The corporation is unstable. We ask Mr. Lee to come back soon and take charge. We need you." Naturally, all the gawkers froze in place. No one could understand what was going on. "Who's the gentleman here, Su Shun?" Even more drenched in sweat, the man in Mr. Lee's entourage allowed himself to modestly remark, Su Shun, from your corporation? You must be mistaken. He's just an ordinary poor student who came from a small town." "Shut up," shouted Mr. Lee. "Mr. Su Shun is the sole heir of the corporation. How can you say that?" Now it was Wang Tung's turn to be nervous. Barely managing his emotions, he could barely manage to utter, "Nah, heir, is this a joke?" and none of the gawkers could believe what was happening before their eyes. How can this beggar? They thought. It was as if Sushun had been reborn. He decided to show the rich boy his place and, slapping him on the cheek, said admonishingly, "A goose is no match for a pig, asshole." Of course, the lovely Zijing couldn't help but notice the wonderful transformation of her acquaintance, and she thought for a moment. A completely new feeling flared up in the girl, because now Sushun was not just a cute student who couldn't fight back. No, a simple slap had elevated the student in her eyes, giving him the status of a hero. And a hero should be treated with a special attitude. So the girl, without a moment's hesitation, let the new feelings that were overwhelming her overwhelm her from head to toe. Wang Ting had only to keep a sneaky eye on the lovers. Embracing each other, they were ready to twirl in a dance for not just a day, for eternity, especially since there was much that was unspoken and unspoken. But service is service, and Sushun, despite how good he felt with the girl, abruptly released her from his embrace and turned around. There was a reason for this. The security team had given the command, "Let's leave," and Sushun could not reply other than, "Got it." It was only now that Wang Tung seemed to wake up. "What kind of bullying is this?" he asked in Ziking, stomping his feet. The girl only smiled mysteriously in response, rubbing her cheap mascara with bitter and joyful tears. Meanwhile, the college was in the middle of a heated discussion about the latest news. "Sushun is just an ordinary poor man. How did he become a rich heir?" "Shut up. Do you have the right to call his name? Call him Chairman Su." Sushun couldn't help but hear this kind of talk. Smirking contentedly, he thought, "Yes, he's right. Just 20 minutes ago. I was actually a poor student, but..." And just 20 minutes ago, Sushun read the news report. Sensation! This morning, the president of Qingyun Corporation, Zhao Chengming, died in a car accident. The main enterprise of this province faced an incredible disaster. Pensively leaning on the desk, the student thought, "Well, horror, although I don't really care." And then he felt a strong pain in the back of his head. The paper lump had completely confused him. His deskmate, naturally, couldn't miss the moment, and snapped a sarcastic remark. "It seems your hostess has started teaching you again." Barely recovering from the pain, Sushun found the strength to turn around and found Ziking gesturing desperately at him. "Brother," said the student in the blue t-shirt, "I'm saying that there are so many people in the class sitting on their phones, but for some reason the head teacher only noticed you. I think she's been interested in you since freshman year. You really don't notice it. Do something about it. She's an annoying girl." Sushun could only reply, dropping his head on his desk. "So what of it?" Sushun continued. "What can I do about the fact that she is interested in me?" So many people envy you and you do not know your happiness," continued the neighbor. But Sushun's thoughts were different, as he was only trying to be arrogant and cold towards this girl. "Why don't I know?" he said to himself. "I just don't have the money for her." And then something happened. It seemed as if all the forces of the universe were acting on his brain, and someone, an inner voice, an alien mind, something else, began to speak slowly. "Congratulations to the host for activating the strongest system, binding system, binding system." The same voice reported that the system had been successfully bound. The host can change to a new personality every week. When activated and performing a new task, the host gains random skills for a long period of time. The omnipresent voice couldn't stop talking. Sushun tried to comprehend everything, but there was no way he could understand that such a thing was still possible. Change identity. He thought, "Master can say the command change identity to get a weekly identity." The voice continued to ventriloquize. "Identity changed. Current identity. Chairman of Qingyun International Company. At first glance, you remain an ordinary student, but you hide a serious position. The sole heir of Qingyun International Company, due to the death of the company president. From today, you officially succeed him in this role. The personality skills that Sushun has acquired: commercial acumen, leadership character, calm temperament. Personal task: the president of the corporation died in a car accident. As a young chairman, you will face his deputy. Please find out the real cause of the president's death within a month and return the right to manage the company." The flash seemed to blind Sushun, and he thought, "Is this all a dream? Chairman of Qingyun Company? Am I really?" Sweat continued to trickle down his cheeks, penetrating past his scruff and into his sleeves, and it distracted him from his thoughts. Then Zijing came running in and demanded an explanation. "Why are you ignoring me?" What could Sushun say to her? Just because his mind was going through a change? "Headman, it's just that my mind is in chaos right now, you're not..." He timidly tried to evade. "Sushun, have you forgotten what I told you?" That voice brought him down to earth. Oh yes, he hadn't forgotten. Wang Teng had been nothing but trouble lately. Stay away from NZ King, don't you get it? Wang Teng continued to spew sparks. His angry look and clenched fists spoke volumes. Wang Teng simply had to show this brat where not to go. So, while in the luxurious seat of the charter plane and leisurely sipping red wine, Su Shun asked Mr. Li, Have I really created a new identity for myself? Even other people's memories have changed. Now we'll have fun. Su Shun winked to himself as he leaned against the porthole and saw his reflection. He now had something to think about and dream about. At this time, a conversation was taking place in a penthouse in the city's business district. The girl said to her companion, I just got the news that Li Tao has already returned from Su Shun's school. Our people were a little late. In response, her companion only smirked contemptuously and replied through his teeth, Back is back. It's just a little kid. He can't do anything. A large oak table, an ashtray with 2 cigarette butts. On the table is a note that reads, No one can stop me now. Judging by the sign on the table, it belongs to the vice chairman. Someone off-screen chuckles gloatingly. Ha 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 ha. Mr. Li, looking at the notebook. This is Vice President Cheng Hua, the second person in the company. He was originally the first candidate for president after Mr. Zhao's accident. But since Mr. Zhao left all the shares to you in his will, he is not eligible to take over. So he hates me now, Su Shun decided. The system gave me a month to find the true cause of Zhao Chengming's death, and it seems that the clue lies in him. The most important thing now is to establish my authority in the company. Mr. Li supplemented the information. Cheng Hua is known for his ruthlessness. He already had quite a few enemies among the high-ranking positions, but they all mysteriously disappeared. You still... Student, be sure to be careful. Really? Su Shun asked. Then I should definitely meet him. Right now, all the members of the Board of Trustees are waiting for me in the conference room, right? Tell them to go to the main entrance. What? Huh? The main entrance. At the same time, a limousine was driving leisurely in the business district of the city. The driver was instructed, and then turn right at the crossroads. We'll have tea and milk. Tea? With milk? The driver asked absent-mindedly. The irritated man in the green suit, furrowing his brow, strongly resents. What the hell? He told us to come down to meet him, and he is still delayed for half a day. Is he playing with us? Not all his interlocutors supported this view. Zhou Chuan, watch your language. That was an order from the president of the company. Don't be rude to your elders. If you don't like something, leave. Zhou Chuan couldn't stand it. President or a student? Are you all crazy? He has no ability or qualifications. Why would he become the president of the company? In my opinion, only Mr. Chung can take that position. That's right, one of the twin brothers, who had been standing in the shadows until now, confirmed. Mr. Chung is the real president of the company, said the other one. What are you doing? A member of the board of directors exclaimed. President Zhao died recently. Don't you want to fulfill his last will? The person chosen as President Zhao must have special qualities, his interlocutor added. The twins immediately began to bicker with them. Old stubborn, you're the main scourge of the company. Retire already. Already lost your teeth, but you don't want to leave, shameless. Cheng Hua, standing aside, thought, Bunch of old men, sooner or later I'll deal with you all. At this moment, the limousine slowed down at the curb, and Su Shun, wearing a fancy suit, deliberately slowly approached the waiting staff. Ah, everyone's here, he said, finishing his tea from a paper cup. All the better. I won't have to wait for anyone. A man with a beard hurriedly approached the chairman. Mr. Su? We've been expecting you. My name is Cheng Hua. The men shook hands firmly and Su Shun uttered, I know, Deputy Cheng. Glad to meet you. I hope to cooperate with you. Nothing of what was happening could not pass by Zhou Chuan, and he muttered, No wonder he was late. It turns out, he was just riding for tea and milk. And already out loud defiantly said, Mr. Su, I advise you to go back and continue to play computer games. Business is war. Here you do not belong. Su Shun tactfully decided to clarify. Deputy Cheng, I just arrived and am not yet familiar with the situation. Is this your dog? Cheng Hua, trying to soften the situation, tried to hint. Mr. Su, you should not say so. He is not. Zhou Chuan's face turned red with anger. Barely restraining himself, he said, Say that again. This was clearly a mistake. And in the next moment, Zhou Chuan was already lying on the sidewalk, not understanding how this milksop had managed to knock him out with one punch. If this dog doesn't belong to Deputy Cheng, but it dares to bark at me, then it should be beaten, Su Shun said, watching his opponent, who now dared not even breathe air without permission, let alone stand on his feet. By the way, there's a meeting in the conference room in 5 minutes. I'm waiting for everyone there. With these words, Su Shun and Mr. Lee left, leaving everyone else in a daze. You're not playing by the rules, kid, Zhou Chuan thought to himself. Fine, then I'll show you how to really play. Entering the room, Mr. Lee and Chairman Su Shun saw a girl in a black suit. Hello, Mr. Su. Mr. Su, this is your secretary, Liao Oi. She is absolutely reliable. If you need anything, just tell her, Mr. Lee explained. Su Shun immediately took advantage of the offer and the authority given to him. Prepare 3 cups of tea for me in the conference room. Cups of tea? The secretary asked in confusion. Upon arriving at the conference room, Su Shun was pleased to find that all 6 seats at the conference table were already occupied. 3 of the people present were already familiar to us, Mr. Lee, Zhou Chuan, and Vice Chairman Cheng Hua. Su Shun walked to his seat at the head of the table. Good. Everyone has arrived on time. I am satisfied. In front of each of them, except for the chairman himself, were the necessary papers and a glass of water. Only he demanded 3 cups of tea. After looking around the meeting, Su Shun said, Let me first introduce myself. My name is Su Shun. From today, I am the president of this. Suddenly, one of the men present at the meeting, with evident ill will, decided to speak out. President Su, on the subject of your inheritance. I wish he hadn't done that. I guess his life had not taught him to listen to his seniors until the end. At the same moment, without waiting for the end of his sentence, the enraged Su Shun threw one of his cups at him, unable to find anything else at hand. Didn't your parents teach you that you shouldn't interrupt other people? All the members of the assembly were shocked by what they saw. No one could utter a word. Everyone's thoughts were chaotically changing from one to another. Even the stern Mr. Lee, who was wise and knowledgeable, lost his temper for a moment and dropped his drink. So, Su Shun looked around the audience with a triumphant smile. I am the president of this company from today. That's it. I'm done. Deciding to let the staff speak, the newly elected president asked, Does anyone else have any questions? Then I'll ask. Who is in favor? Who is against? Silence reigned in the hall, and no one dared to oppose Su Shun. Ask, don't be silent. Su Shun continued to encourage them. If anyone has anything to say it. I'm easygoing. The people present only lowered their heads, like a student in class who was afraid of being asked. Vice Chairman Chung had been staring at him intently all this time, studying his gestures, manner of speech, and demeanor. Although President Su is still very young, he is still very charismatic, he thought to himself. Haha, since President Su is done talking, then I'll give my thoughts on the matter, Deputy Chung said cheerfully, although he had a different thought in his head. President Zhao was right to choose him as his successor. Okay, Deputy Chang, please speak. President Su Shun had yet to finish this sentence, and then Mr. Lee was startled to see that the deputy had picked up one of the teacups meant for the president. Vice Chairman Chung began to speak leisurely, punctuating each word. President Su is very young and has great promise. With such a director, our company is sure to succeed in many things, and I am indeed very happy. But we have dozens of people working for us. It will be useless to persuade only us to do something. There was an ominous silence in the air. Everyone was silent. But if President Su can achieve something incredible, Deputy Chung continued. For example, if he gets a big deal from Taishan Corporation, then no one in the company will dare to doubt your abilities. Mr. Lee could no longer control himself and exploded. Come on, everyone knows that Taishan is our worst enemy. You're sending President Su to sign documents with them? How is that possible? Deputy Chung could not bear to be treated like this and raised his voice. How dare you shout at me? He threw a glass of tea and milk at him in anger. Mr. Lee caught the glass on the fly without apparent effort. The tension in the conference room was rising and seemed to have peaked. Everyone was silent, afraid to utter a single word. President Su Shun broke the silence. I will take this project. His words impressed Mr. Lee, who clearly did not expect such an act from the president. Only Vice Chairman Chung could not hide his satisfaction. Good. You are very courageous. But don't take too long to negotiate. A month will be enough for you, I hope. President Su Shun said confidently. A week is enough. Break it up. A week? Mr. Lee thought with horror. With a cold-blooded glance around the room, President Su Shun ordered his secretary, Liao Yu, follow me. Mr. Lee, appealing to prudence, shouted after them, President Su! Ha ha ha. Good. There he is, our President Su. It's a deal. Deputy Chung cheerfully exclaimed. Li Tao, thank you for bringing him here. We were able to appreciate this idiot, he continued. 2 other members of the assembly stood behind him and quietly watched. When they saw that Deputy Cheng was winning, they began to echo him. He has no milk on his lips yet. What business is he in? Fighting with Mr. Cheng is seeking his own death. Everyone laughs at him. And as if to confirm their words, Cheng laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha! At the same time, the oldest and wisest members of the council were sharing their thoughts. How could President Zhou choose this jerk? The situation is hopeless. We need to quit immediately. And only Li Tao was sitting at the table and concentrating on something. Finally, he made up his mind and called President Su via video link. President Su, you can't, he began. Oh, I was just looking for you. Su Shun interrupted him in a serene voice. Tell me finally, how did President Zhao die? The question clearly took Mr. Li by surprise. He didn't hide his bewilderment. President Zhao? He was in an accident. The police have already determined that. But President Su could not be so easily dismissed. With his hands folded in front of the monitor, he demanded, I'm not interested in official reports. Tell me everything in detail. Damn it. If it really was just an ordinary accident, the system wouldn't have made me investigate it, Mr. Li thought to himself. Okay, I'll do what I can, he said aloud. This morning on his way to the company, President Zhao collided with a truck at an intersection and died. The driver of the truck takes out garbage from the construction site every day at this time, so the accident was not intentional. Where is the driver now? Su Shun asked. He has been detained and is now at the police station. We must act immediately. Su made a decision. I need you to go to the police station right now and follow this driver. There's no way something can happen to him. A terrible hunch pierced Mr. Li. He still couldn't dare to ask, is something wrong? Do you really think that, while various thoughts chaotically replaced each other in Mr. Li's mind, Su Shun, leisurely sipping his coffee, said, It's not scary to anticipate in advance. It's scary to be unexpected. Got it. I'll go now, Li Tao exclaimed. Leaving the office, he ran into the president's secretary at the door. President Su, all the information about the president of Taishan Corporation, Mr. Anantian, is here, Liao Yu said, handing the president a puffy bag of papers. Taking the bag in his hands, Su Shun thought absent-mindedly for a long time. When he looked at the papers, he couldn't understand how he knew Anantian. Anantian. I think I've heard this name before.
And then President Su Shun had his hunch confirmed. He saw An Ziking's picture on one of the sheets of paper, and the document said that she was the daughter of the president of Taishan Corporation. Holy shit, what a coincidence, Su Shun exclaimed.
At this moment, a certain girl, while taking a bath, asked her interlocutor, Are you saying that this Su Shun actually became the president of Qingyun Company? Is it really the evil truth? Maybe it's a lie, she thought aloud. He's gone from loser to handsome in an instant. She held her head in disbelief. Unread messages on my phone. I'm so angry 2 days ago he was laughing at me. If only I had known. And Zijing, daughter of the president of Taishan Corporation, wails bitterly. Suddenly she decides to get some fresh air. I'm going to go for a little walk. Walking down the street in her underwear and open cloak, she causes astonishment. It's already getting dark outside, and Ziking feels uneasy. She fastens her cloak and looks around fearfully. It is starting to get cold. She hesitantly stops under a street lamp, not knowing what to do next. Suddenly, a young man rushes at her from behind and embraces her. Hey, beautiful. From surprise, the girl can't resist and only shouts, Ouch! For some time, she tries to throw off the attacker's arm, and at last she succeeds. She throws him to the asphalt with a powerful throw, and only at the last, inevitable moment did the girl recognize him. It's me, shouted Su Shun, already in the inevitable flight to the ground. Really? The girl clasped her hands together. Su Shun. And Ziking couldn't forgive her mistake. She was going around and around. I'm sorry. You came so suddenly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to... Calm down. It's... All right. Su Shun barely spoke out. However, what a heavy hand. He exclaimed later when he recovered a little and was able to accompany An Ziking. Hey, it was your own fault. Why did you attack me? Su Shun found something to answer instantly. Why do you beat me up when I sneak up from behind, but do nothing when I come up to kiss you from the front? The girl was silent. Only a slight blush on her cheeks gave away her feelings. It seemed like it was time to talk, and An Ziking ventured. I really didn't think. You've avoided me for so many years since you were a child, and today... Why did you decide to find me? Su Shun realized that now he could honestly and frankly lay it all out. I used to be a poor tramp and couldn't provide for your happiness. But from today, I am no longer that poor tramp, Su Shun. I will give up everything for your love. And Ziking's eyes opened wide. At the same moment, her whole body seemed to sparkle with happiness and finally found peace of mind. Uh-huh, and Ziking could only say. Su Shun consoled her affectionately. Don't cry, silly girl. I want to ask you something. Is your dad really the president of Taishan Corporation?
An Zijing, still sobbing and wiping her tears, said, "Yes. 5 years ago, he set up his own business and founded Taishan Company. I told you so." She asked angrily, "Don't you remember?" "Ha ha ha. I remember. I remember, of course I remember," Su Shun hurriedly assured her.
However, there was a completely different thought in my mind. You talk every day. How can you memorize it all? Su Shun said out loud not what was on his tongue. Now, I want to get a firm foothold in Qingyun's company, and so I need your dad's help. So, a phone call abruptly interrupted their conversation. President Su, the driver of the truck that was involved in the accident with President Zhao, has committed suicide. Where are you? Su Shun shouted. I'll come right away. Are you leaving already? What's wrong? The girl asked. Already running away, holding the phone near his ear, Su Shun turned around and shouted, I will call you tomorrow morning. The girl remained standing on the path, as if seeing him off. Thoughts swarmed in her head, the image of the man she loved still standing in front of her eyes. Damn, we never got to talk. Ah, Ziking thought and couldn't hold back a nervous laugh. He. Company. Su Shun summoned the limousine. While waiting for transportation, he had time to think about a lot of things and spread out a little. The sudden headlight that blinded Su Shun confused him. He realized in time that something was not going according to plan, and he jumped aside sharply. It's a hit and run, he realized. A sharp scraping of metal made him turn around. Su Shun was watching in horror. A yellow car collided with his limousine and swerved to the side, and was now rapidly gaining speed. Now that was really dangerous, Su Shun thought. It was hardly a coincidence. The assassination of the president, the suicide of the driver. President Su, are you all right? Mr. Li shouted, jumping out of the car and interrupting his train of thought. Office. Liao Jun appears in the office doorway and reports the situation. The driver failed. Li Tao suddenly appeared and saved the kid's life. Mr. Chung, having an intimate conversation with a girl, calms her down. Never mind. I just wanted to scare him. I'm not so stupid to kill 2 company presidents one after another. Today was a warning. But I hope that he will realize that it is time to put his tail down, Mr. Chung triumphed. At the same time, Su Shun, recalling the events of the day over a cup of coffee, said, Today was a warning. Someone wants me to give up. Mr. Li couldn't stand it anymore and pounded his fist on the table. Son of a bitch. If I hadn't arrived in time, there would have been consequences. Okay, tell me about the incident, Su Shun asked. The driver was actually under control, Mr. Li began. But suddenly he committed suicide in the detention center. When I arrived, he was already dead. Yeah, my opponent is really tough. He left a suicide note in which he said he had no money to pay for the damage, and would pay with his life, Mr. Li continued. Where's the driver's family? Su Shun continued to ask. He got divorced a few years ago and lived alone. Be sure to double-check. This could be an important lead in the case. Su Shun continued to collate the data. If someone hired a killer, the trump card that made the driver agree to give up his life could only be a relative. Yes, I'll find out right away.
It was warm outside, and the trees stretched their branches toward the sun. The large, beautiful mansion with its well-kept garden and flowers was a model for the neighbors. It seemed just as cozy and peaceful within the walls of the house.
Inside, however, the idyll has been disturbed. Likshu, the wife of the landlord, and Nantian chides him for being too careless. Eat. All day long you eat. Are you even interested in your daughter? Anantian calmly asked. Is that all you're worried about? Or is there something else? Yes, more. Ziking is chasing after some hungry man every day. How is that even possible? Xiaocheng waited for her all night yesterday and still does, but she just refused to come back. What is this? A riot? Mom, why have you been yelling since morning? An Jianyun, An Zijing's brother, asked. Behind him, a young man in a red suit walked into the room. Auntie, has Ziking not returned yet? Han Xiaocheng asked. She'll be back soon. You have breakfast. I'll hurry her up. Lixue suddenly rushed over. Han Xiaocheng felt awkward and said, If An Zijing really doesn't like me, I'd better leave. But Lixue assured him otherwise and convinced him to stay. You what? A little later, a confidential conversation between the 2 young men took place. Come on, how can you, Leader Xiao, lose to a poor student living only on bread and water? But after all, it's just an asset that doesn't deserve much attention, Han Xiaocheng objected. Joyful, still hovering in the clouds, An Zijing came with her companion Su Shun to introduce him to his parents. Mom, Dad, I'm home. All 4 of them waiting for her were dumbfounded. How dare this beggar and ragamuffin come into their house? What had he hoped for? You what? Who do you think you are? Hello, uncle, aunt. My name is Su Shun. I am a Zijing boy. This is the first time I came to see you, and I didn't bring any gift, just bought some fruit from the bottom of my heart. With these words, the young man put the bag on the table. Boyfriend? John Yun interjected. What kind of nonsense are you doing with some redneck? What do you see in him anyway? He grabbed the bag and threw it back into Su Shunyu's hands. Take your trash and get out of here. You don't belong here, brother, Ziking said pitifully. Uncle An, you have a beautiful family, Su Shun said. But have you failed to raise a son? Frowning, John Yun said, Say that again. Shut your mouth, you disgrace. The head of the family echoed him. After cooling down a bit, he asked the guest, Su Shun, I admire your sense of affairs, but why did you do such a crazy thing today? You're no match for Ziking. Go away. Su Shun himself realized that the matter had gone too far. Not knowing how to make amends for his mistake, he thought for a long time and finally began to speak. Actually, Let me say a few words. A young man suddenly interrupted him. Let me introduce myself. My name is Han Xiao Chung. I am the young manager of the Kangshan Steel Company, and I will be the president of the company in the future. What a familiar moment, Su Shun thought. All this has already happened to me once before. Not the card. Not the card. Don't take out your bank card. I beg you. At the same moment, a blue plastic card fell at his feet. There is 1 million on the card. Take the money and leave. No, Su Shun thought again. I don't want to sink to his level. What's next on the plan? Now it's slap time? Ziking was clearly unhappy with the situation. Han Xiao Chung. Usually you don't shut up and say that you don't care about money, and you don't introduce yourself as the leader of Xiao. So why are you so eager to reveal your identity today? I just want to point out some people's insignificance so that they don't dream of the beautiful swan, Xiao Chung declared, looking arrogantly at Su Shun. He already knew what would happen next. The guy would pick up the handout and leave with his tail between his legs. It was always like this. Ziking was horrified to see Su Shun bending over to pick up the plastic card. She watched his actions with resentment. The warm feelings in her soul were gradually supplanted by coldness and contempt. Xiao Cheng was also watching Su Shun with a smile. Anticipating his victory, he remarked, Ha ha ha, look, this kid knows how to prioritize. Su Shun's eyes narrowed and turned into slits. He slowly walked over to Xiao Cheng and put the plastic card in his jacket pocket. This is the money your father earned with a lot of hard work. You shouldn't throw it on the floor just like garbage. You have no right to throw away his money. There was silence in the room. Nantian and Lixue watched with interest. How strange, thought Xiao Cheng. I have humiliated him. Why is he pretending so strangely? The next moment, he snapped out of the silence. None of your business. I'm a young CEO of a company with a market value of 30 billion. Who are you? Tell me. In front of your aunt and uncle, let them choose who is worthy of their daughter. All right, Shun said meekly. I'm the president of Qingyun International Company. Ha 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 ha. Did you hear? He's president? President? Nantian kept an unwavering expression the entire time of the fight, only for Lixue to start crying, and Jianyang's tears to appear as well. You? The president of Qingyun International Company? Xiao Cheng continued to mock, scattering the fruit from Shun's bag all over the room. Doesn't look like it? Su Shun mocked his opponent. What are you talking about? Why didn't you say you were the Supreme Lord in the first place? How can a bastard like you be the president of a company? Do you think I'm an idiot? Their argument was suddenly interrupted by a TV news report. After the sudden death of former President Qing Yun, according to his will, yesterday, 19-year-old Su Shun took over as the new president of the company, where he will now take this commercial aircraft carrier. Time will tell. According to our sources, Qing Yun has a market value of $130 billion. Here the owner of the house, Nantian, could not contain emotions and also roared with bitter tears. So it turns out you are the same Shun, the new president of the company Qing Yun. Su Shun, happy that everything was in place, turned to Xiao Cheng. Director Han, we should definitely work together in the future. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, we will, Xiao Cheng muttered under his breath. I just remembered that I have something urgent to do, so I'll be going. Bye. He hurriedly retreated and slammed the door. Xiao Cheng's quick departure made a difference, and his recent foe Jian Yin quickly changed his ways and put his arm around Shun's shoulders in a friendly manner and winked at him. Ha ha ha, son-in-law. I knew at first sight that you were an outstanding person. You flatter me, Su Shun smirked back at him. And Nantian could not find a place in the house. Everything turned upside down. Nonsense. As soon as he heard about the money, he's already a son-in-law? Am I dead? Meanwhile, Lixue changed her behavior. Shun, sit down. You want to eat? Uncle An, I'm actually here on business today, Su-shun said. Qingyun Company is looking forward to cooperating with your Taishan Corporation. Funny, doesn't anyone know that I will never do business with Qingyun in my life? If you're an ordinary poor man, I can't hate you. But if you're the president of Qingyun Company, then don't ever come to my house again. Father, why are you doing this? And Ziking cried out in anger. That's out of the question! Nantian turned his back to her and ordered, Show the guest out! Smiling dazzlingly, Su-shun kindly said, Nothing. I have already sent people to find out the reasons for the conflict between Qingyun and Taishan. Damn, old man, why don't you do something good for business? Lixue shrieked, unable to hide her irritation. To find out? Anantian snorted contemptuously. And what did you find out? According to the results, when you and Mr. Zhao were young, you wanted to talk? Shun Nantian interrupted abruptly. No problem. Let's go to my office. I'll sign it right away. Thank you, Uncle. Shun thanked him fervently. And Nantian gave him a friendly hug and said, Ha ha ha. I immediately realized that you are an outstanding person. Thank you. Your son has just praised me as well. The mother and daughter looked at them with bewilderment. Su-shun finally got brave enough to ask, Uncle, did you really compete for a girl with Mr. Zhao when you were young? Shut up. If you dare to tell my wife about this, I'll kill you. Vice Chairman Cheng, sipping his coffee, asked unhappily, What? He signed the contract? No way. Yes, and Nantian has to make an announcement at the board of directors in 2 days. His interlocutor confirmed the information. What are we going to do? Cheng slammed the cup onto the table with all his might. The spatters flew all over the surface. It's illogical. Taishan has been feuding with our company for a long time. How could he agree to this kid's demands? As far as I know, he's having an affair with Anantian's daughter. They're classmates. Fuck, Chung yelled. Why didn't you tell me this important information earlier? I just found out. Do you want to follow through? There's no need, Chung said. It's just a little kid. You think I'm going to panic? I've already figured out how to deal with him. He smirked gloatingly. Meanwhile, the system activated in Su-shun's brain warned, There are still 4 days until the deadline date. Master, please complete the task as soon as possible. Thought Shun. Even though the treaty has been signed, it is more important for me to find out the truth. A panting Li Tao burst into the office. President Su, as you expected, I found something extraordinary. The driver has a daughter. 3 years ago, she went to study abroad, and since then he started working as a driver at this construction site. The truck driver suddenly had the money to send his daughter abroad. Shun started to guess. I think someone bought him, and the enemy is very tough, planned everything for 3 years. Why can't we find this source of money yet? Li Tao pondered. But you are right. The enemy is very cunning and ruthless. There is no way to avoid him. I have already summoned bodyguards. From now on, they will be with you all the time. Bodyguards? Mr. Shun was perplexed. Come in, Mr. Li called out. At his command, 3 shouldered guys entered the office. All 3 of them were of the same height and weight, all with the same shoulders, the real guards. Hello, President Su! They shouted in unison. President Su, don't worry. They are all elite retired military special forces, Li assured them. Their physical stats and loyalty levels are very high. Good. Thank you for the favor, Shun said uncertainly. By the way, I have one more question for you, he said. Li released the guards until further notice. You may step out. Su-shun showed the shared photo on the tablet and asked, Who is this person? Isn't his level too low to stand next to Chenhua? Why didn't I see him at the last meeting? This person's name is Liao Jun, Li said. He is not a member of the board of directors, but he is very close to Chenhua. It is said that many shameful things Chenhua does are done by him. You could say he is Chenhua's most loyal dog. You want to start the investigation with him? He's like a rock. I'm afraid that... No, I was just curious, so... I asked, Shun replied. His brain began to pick up on another connection. Liao. He tried to remember. At this moment, Su-shun's secretary ran into the man in question in the office corridors. Liao Jun was smoking and seemed to be waiting for her on purpose. What is it? You can't even say hello to me when you meet me? I told you before. Stop following me around in my company. Ha, Liao Jun hummed. I wanted to contact you outside the company, but did you answer my call? And anyway, stop talking nonsense. I have urgent business with you. It's not my job to help you. The girl tried to avoid him. Liao Jun grabbed her hand tightly. Don't try to be arrogant with me. If it wasn't for me, would you have become the secretary of the chapter? Believe it or not, I can kick you out of here tomorrow. Let me go! Listen carefully. My father is at an impasse. If you don't want me to die, you have to help me. His nervousness was transmitted to the girl. Now Liao Yu was starting to sweat. Tired to death. Su Shun stretched out, stretching lazily. Hello, President Su. Good luck to you. The 5 guards bowed to the chief. Where are you going? We're going with you. Work is finished, said Shun. I'm going home. Brothers, work, cried out one of the security team. Yes. A loud response came from all sides. Really, very energetic, Shun noted to himself. Let's escort President Su home to bed. A command was heard. Entering the office, Su Shun said goodbye to the secretary. Liao Yu, I'm leaving. Goodbye, President Su. President Su, she suddenly shouted back as if she had remembered something important. What is it? My car broke down. Can I bother you and ask you to take me home? But if it's too much trouble for you, I'll call a cab. Okay, come on. I'll drive you. Shun agreed. It was starting to get dark when the limousine pulled up to the destination. One of Su's men gallantly opened the door of the executive car. Do you live here? Su Shun asked, looking around with interest. Thank you for bringing me here. Come on, I'll take you inside. Liao Yu couldn't say a word out of bewilderment. Only a single, huh? Could slip out of her mouth. Su's face, which had been good-natured a moment before, suddenly became hard and he seemed angry. What's the matter with you? I brought you here, and you won't even give me a drink of water? Sure. Sorry. Liao felt awkward and let him pass. 2 twin brothers were keeping watch in the bushes. They were instructed to report everything they saw. Shit, they've entered the house. Brother, do we have to go with them too? Idiot, do you have any brains? Apparently, President Su will be drinking this water all night. After passing through the room, Su and Liao crossed the threshold and found themselves in the bathroom. It was chaotic, with toothbrushes on the floor, socks on the wash basin, and so on. You really seem to be putting all your energy into your work, Liao Yu said. And now our heroes are already talking nicely in the living room. Shun, spreading his arms wide, accidentally bumps into the bodice that the hostess forgot to hide, and says with a smirk, It seems that you really spend all your energy on work. Instantly flaring up, Liao instantly took her item of clothing from him. Don't touch it. I'll give you some water. Once in the bathroom, Liao remembered the instructions. Find a chance to be alone with him, and then let him drink this medicine. He will faint, and then you have to take some hot photos with him, understand? After thinking for a while, Liao cried and threw the pill into a glass of water. Su Shun, meanwhile, while waiting for her, walked down the corridor and looked at the pictures of relatives that were hung on the walls. President Su, your water, Liao said in an emphatically cold tone. Where's your mother? She's at home. With these words, Liao Yu handed the glass to Su, praying that it would be over quickly. That's how it is, Shun said leisurely. To be honest, I wanted to ask you something. What is your relationship with Liao Jun? The girl instantly covered with sweat. What are you talking about? We are not related to him in any way, just namesakes. Ah, I see. That's how it is. And Su Shun put a glass of water to his mouth. God, he's going to drink, Liao thought in despair. Su Shun drank the contents of the glass in one fell swoop, and nothing happened. Thank you for your hospitality, rest and I'll go, he said cheerfully. President Su, a girl suddenly shouted. I wanted to consult with you on a matter.
Liao tried her best to hold Su back, a persistent thought in her head. The drug hasn't taken effect yet. We can't let him go. Yes? It seems you don't intend to let me go today. No ... IT quote S, not like that, the girl whispered.
Su returned to the living room and sat on the couch, crossing his legs. So what's your question? At the same time, the president's guards were idly chatting. Suddenly a phone signal cut through the silence. A message from President Su? The senior thought, perplexed. The text was as follows. Turn off the internet signal in the entire house. I'll give you 5 minutes. Here we go, exclaimed the chief of security. Guys, let's get to work. Worm, take 2 guys and pull out the internet cables going to the house. Boulder, kill the signal from all the towers in the area. Hurry up. Yes, sir. The men responded immediately. And here we are in the living room again. Su Shun was fed up with the suspense, so he asked a question. So, what do you want to ask, Liao Yu? Well, sort of. The girl obviously hesitated. Shun himself could hardly contain himself. His body began to produce sweat. Suddenly, everything became clear. It seems to be an aphrodisiac. Does she even know about it? Shun thought angrily. President Su? Liao asked. Aren't you sleepy? Apparently not aware of it, Su continued to ponder. So someone tricked her into taking an aphrodisiac while she thought it was a sleeping pill. If she herself is in the dark, then we are being watched by someone who knows. Liu Hu, hurry up, he begged mentally. Liao Yu noticed that not everything had gone according to plan. President Su, are you all right? But she had a different thought. Why won't he fall asleep? And his face is all twisted. Maybe I overdosed him? The internet signal was still active, and that made Shun angry. You don't seem to be looking very healthy, said Liao sympathetically. But to herself, she thought triumphantly. There you go, hee. In a nearby room, Shun's detractors crowded around the monitor. They were eager to receive the provocative materials. The show will start soon. Ah, haha. We will soon find out what our young president is capable of. Wow, your forehead is burning, Liao Yu exclaimed. Meanwhile, the aphrodisiac effect was getting harder and harder to fight, and Shun found himself unable to take his eyes off her lush bust. What a fool, he thought. As Su fought the growing nosebleed, he looked around and finally caught a glimpse of the fading internet signal. Unhappy exclamations came from all sides. Shit, Liao Jun said. How come? This was supposed to be the best part. Fucking internet. Immediately, Su Shun jumped up and threw Liao Yu onto the bed. Ah! She shrieked in fright, annoyance and frustration at the same time. You're so stupid! You don't even realize how you've been used! What? The girl's pupils dilated wide. She didn't want to believe Su. Get me some ice! The more the better! Hurry! How exactly was I to be used? Liao asked confused. A guard, concerned about the president's excessive absence, entered the house. President Su! He called through the closed door. President Su is in the bathroom, taking a shower, Liao explained. Whoever, but the guard did not have to explain for a long time. It turns out, he is one of those who do it very quickly. He grinned understandingly, looking at Liao evaluatively, and she squealed, Shove your dirty jokes you know where. Oh, pew. Zun came out of the bathroom in his robe, taking a breath. President Su, you're still young and don't know the ins and outs. You have to do it. The guard tried to sneer. You better shut up and get busy. With what? The bodyguard was surprised. There's a hidden camera in the room. Find it! Were you going to secretly videotape the whole thing? The guard jumped on Liao. What camera? I don't know anything about it. Stop talking, just find it, Shun urged his bodyguard, dressing as he walked. By the way, did he tell you what kind of drug it was? He asked Liao. Sleeping pills. Silly girl. Did you think taking a picture of me sleeping would compromise me in any way? Obviously, they wanted hotter material. It was an aphrodisiac. They wanted to put you under me, you know? No way, the girl shrieked. Only now did Liao realize that she was just being used against the president. Found it, shouted the bodyguard with joy. The hidden camera was hidden in the socket. So it's all true, the girl said half-voiced thoughtfully. Keep looking. There should be some in the bedroom too, Su demanded. Your own father is willing to sacrifice your honor for his own gain. It must not be a good feeling, Shun said. But how did you know about it? I just said a hunch out loud, and it seemed to be true. Liao Jun is really my father. 15 years ago, he left me with my sick mother and went to another woman. 3 years ago, I came here to earn money. I had no one here. I was desperate. And then I met him by chance. He was already in one of the lower management positions in the company. He helped me get a job. That's how I avoided starving to death in a back alley. As much as I hate him.
But you still can't refuse his request, right? 3 in the bedroom, 1 in the bathroom. The bodyguard interrupted her train of thought. They were going to muddy your good name. President Su, this is outrageous. After seeing all this, do you still have doubts about him? Shun asked. I don't believe that he did it. He was misled too.
Now the bodyguard could not contain his anger. Did you get your brains pinched by the door? I'm going to eliminate Manhwa, said Su. To do that, I must first find a way to get close to Liao Jun. I'll need your help to do that. If you don't want to do it, I won't force you. That's it, we're leaving. President Su, are we done for the day? You want to go and kick Liao Jun's ass? Okay, hey guys, shut up. Liao Yu was flooded with memories. She remembered looking for a job. Get out of here! We don't have a job for you! We don't need you. Go away, don't block the entrance. You don't know how to do anything. You've got some nerve coming here to apply for a job. It was like this wherever Liao went. Sitting in a puddle in the pouring rain, flipping through papers no one wanted, she howled in grief. Oh, Mom, Liao Yu. A man who stopped next to her asked her. It was her father. the only one who helped her at that moment. Liao thought, "Anyway, in this world, you are my only family man. I want to give you another chance." There was a lively conversation behind the closed office doors. "Liao Jun, I have met many ruthless people in my life, but you are on a different level. I admire you. Turning your own daughter into a pawn and leading her by the leash for 3 years, that's foresight. I hear you two have a bad relationship. So how did you get her to submit? Simple. I asked the bosses of every company she sent her resume to turn her down. And when she was already in despair, I appeared on stage. At such a moment, she was willing to listen to me for everything. Ah ha 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 ha. Cool. There's a reason Mr. Chenhua values you so much as his right hand. You're very good. Will you show us the tape tomorrow? Jun asked. No problem. I'll send people to pick up the memory cards and then I'll send you the video for you all to check out. Ah ha ha, catch your drift. Liao Yu heard everything. Her lips were trembling. President Su, the bodyguard asked. Liao Yu betrayed you in the most brazen way. Why didn't you get rid of her? It's always been the hardest thing for people to break up with their relatives, and I'm just her boss. So why would she betray her father for me? But I was amazed that even my secretary was Chenhua's man. President Su, you don't have to worry about us. My boys and I are steadfast in our loyalty to you, the guard assured me fervently. I know. I'm pleased with the way you're doing your jobs. If you work with someone, don't doubt them. And if you doubt someone, don't work with them. I trust you 100%. The bodyguard was struck to the core by his words and thought to himself, so that's how it is. At such a young age, he controls a multi-billion-dollar empire and yet is able to trust his subordinates unconditionally. Watching Shun through the rearview mirror, he continued to ponder. He is surrounded by strong enemies, but he doesn't show a shred of fear. At the same time, he constantly maintains a working attitude. Judging from the way his eyebrows are slightly tensed, he must be dealing with serious business matters right now. How can someone so perfect exist in this world? Meanwhile, the so perfect got into watching entertainment content. What a freak. Is anyone going to be a streamer nowadays? After a while, the limousine parked in front of Shun's mansion. It was already dark, with only the moon and the clouds partially illuminating the surrounding area. Pick me up tomorrow morning, but for now you are free to go. Su let the driver go. Yes, when he was alone, Shun was lost in thought. There are only 2 days left to complete the mission. It's strange that I don't panic at all. I have to face serious problems, but I solve them with a cool head. Damn it. Is it because the system has given the current personality such a temperament? President Su. He was distracted from his thoughts by a barely audible voice. It was Liao Yu. Come in, he's a bastard. All these years I've been his pawn, the girl began. Such creatures don't deserve to live on this earth. He was willing to destroy me, so I'll do the same to him. I'll do anything you say if it'll help him get his revenge, even if I have to sacrifice myself. Remember, if you come to my camp, I will not require you to sacrifice yourself, but I will help you get what you want, help you get revenge on him. Do you understand? Yes, Liao agreed fervently. Liao Jun gave instructions to his subordinates over the phone. Wait for Su Shun to leave before coming in. Don't spook him before his time. I need you to take every last camera. Isn't that why you're here? Liao Yu asked, showing the cameras on her palm. Jun turned pale and covered in sweat. He realized that he had been tricked. You're like, not bad. Not only did you cheat me out of the drug, you also installed hidden cameras. What's that supposed to mean? I'm sorry. I let you down. Jun started to make excuses. It was Director Chen. He wanted everything to go perfectly. He gave me the wrong pill and installed hidden cameras. By the time I found out, it was too late. Don't worry. From now on, I will never let my daughter be treated so unfairly. When this is over, you'll definitely join the board of directors. By the way, did Su Shun discover these hidden cameras? Let's talk inside. I'm really tired. So what's up? Jun asked already indoors. This is very important. Tell me, did Su Shun get hooked? Tell me quickly. I'm dying of impatience. Liao Jun, who is this? A woman on the second floor asked. A colleague. She's here on business. She'll be leaving soon. Let's talk in your office. I don't even want to see that woman, Liao said. Daughter, what's up with Su Shun after all? Liao Yu remembered her boss's admonition. Remember, to make a game changer, you have to get to Liao Jun's computer. Jun was indignant to find the security cameras empty. What about the memory cards? You think I'm just going to give them to you? You owe me 8 million, not a penny less. Otherwise, you won't get them. You! Jun couldn't even say a word out of anger. Especially this recording might interest President Su as well. Liao Jun was sweating. He started frantically searching for a way out. Oh crap. This girl has everything we need in her hands. If we don't fulfill her demand, how will we destroy Su Shun? 8 million. Anyway, I'm not going to pay it out of my own pocket. Okay, he said out loud. Wait a bit, I need to consult my boss. I'll give you 10 minutes. My patience is wearing thin. Where's Director Chen? Get me him on the phone right away. Jun was getting angrier and angrier. Taking advantage of his absence, Liao connected the virus drive to the computer. Done, she said happily to Su. Shun sat the cipher technician at the table and told him, If you find what I need, I'll give you 8 million. I won't let you down, assured the technician. Su's employees were openly indignant at his actions. We spent all night looking for a computer genius at the boss's request just for this? Minus 8 million, and President Su is a master of throwing money around. If I knew how much they paid for it, I would have studied differently. I found one hidden folder. It's password protected, but it's not a problem, said the technician. Liao Jun walked hurriedly down the corridor and spoke on the phone. Okay, Director Chen. Transfer the money to my account, and after the record is verified, I will transfer it to her. With those words, he pulled the doorknob towards him and found Yu by the computer. What's going on here? What are you doing? You don't even put my mom and I's picture on the table. You're so heartless. Cut the crap. I have the money. I want to get the money first. Jun hesitated. He didn't want to give away that much money. How long will it take you to decide? I'm losing my patience. Bleeding with sweat, Jun made the necessary transaction and said, Don't you dare to heat me up, otherwise you will become my mortal enemy. By the way, the money has been transferred. Is it okay now? Turning her back to him, Liao Yu replied with a sneer. You are my father after all. I won't let you see something like this involving me. You just want to ruin Su Shun's relationship with Zijing, right? I've already sent the video to her. What? Jun turned red with anger. Do you take me for a fool? Give me the tape now. Otherwise you'll never get out of here. Jun grabbed Liao's arm sharply. Let me go. Director Chen, slightly worried about the recent events, called the secretary. Tell everyone. We'll hold a meeting of the interim board of directors soon. Got it. Shyly knocking on Su's door, she heard an invitation. Come in. President Su, Director Chen is asking you to attend a meeting of the interim board of directors. I see, Su replied. He thought, this is the moment of the decisive battle. Ouch! Liao screamed in surprise. Jun threw her on the bed. I don't have time for your games. I'll give you one last chance. Where are the memory cards? At that moment, the phone rang in his jacket pocket and Jun was distracted. Director Chen, I haven't received them yet, he said. Yes, after all, I already said I sent them to Zijing, Liao Yu replied, crying. What? Zijing came to our company? Qingyun Company disrespects Taishan so much that its president gave horns to my sister? Zhang Yun shouted frantically and slammed his fist on the table. Why don't you say anything? If you still think you can continue to take care of my sister, then you're an asshole. Director Chen was smiling contentedly. The conflict was clearly satisfactory to him. What an accurate observation. Finally, all the dreariness of the situation of the past few days began to dissipate. Director An, Su said, please calm down. If you have something to say, I suggest we talk about it privately in my office. That's what he gives, Shun thought. I didn't ask him for such a passionate performance. He denigrates me so sincerely, as if he really has a personal grudge against me. Director Chen decided to intervene and escalate the confrontation. Come on, President Su. As a member of the board of directors, you were wrongfully accused. So, we should all demand justice together. Right, Jun began to agree. We need to get to the bottom of this. You want justice? Come in, everyone. Su-kun invited us in. At the same moment, the room was filled with journalists and reporters shouting, We're from television. President Su, do you have anything to say about this? Give us a comment. The guards tried to push them out in their usual manner. You can't come in here. There's a meeting going on here. But Director Chen suddenly gave permission. Let the journalists in. Let them film. The presence of the media will prove that the good name of our company is not afraid of slander. Do we really have to take this step? Asked Su for the first time confusedly. I just want to give you a chance to whiten your reputation. And Jiqing was at the center of the event. She was a bit unaccustomed to speaking in front of a huge audience. She opened her notebook and said, You can see the true picture of what happened on this screen. Look, Director Chen smirked as he anticipated a swift reprisal against his opponent. This is what happens to those who wage war with me. Liao Jun did not share his optimism. A bead of sweat covered his face. And then the video feed from the laptop started. Jun and Chen were talking. Old Zhao Chengming is too much of a nuisance. Get rid of him in the next couple of days. The driver is fine. We can do it tomorrow at lunchtime. Now Principal Chen was already sweating and tried to stop the disclosure. What is this? Close the laptop. Don't film anyone. But it was too late. Or make it clean. He must not survive, Chen continued in the video. Don't worry. I've practiced this maneuver many times. This footage confirms the premeditation of the assassination. So President Zhao's death was not an accident, but a cold-blooded assassination. What am I paying you for, you freeloaders? Director Chen shouted. Do you want to keep your jobs? Quickly smash all the cameras and phones. His horror grew, unable to believe the loss of the empire. Now it was Su Shun's turn to act. He called his bodyguards. Your exit! Yes, sir! Take those guards out. Don't let them interfere with the journalist's work. Hey, Sixes, get out of here! Director Chen's guards were advised to get out of here while still giving them a couple of slaps for better understanding. So, said Su. Director Chen and his deputy Jun were arguing with each other. You dared to install a hidden camera in my office? I didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted to save a trump card for my own safety. Liao Yu set me up. The doors of the room opened wide, and Li walked in, accompanied by the police. You two are suspected of organizing the murder of Zhao Chengming. You'll have to come with us. After handcuffing Jun and Chen, they were led out of the hall. Phew, I think it's all over, Shun thought. We played our parts well, didn't we? Well, I'm the key character in this play, and you were just a supporting puppet in my background, Junyun decided to clarify. Congratulations, the assignment is complete, the activated system announced. To retrieve this week's identity, give the command Retrieve Identity. Retrieve Identity, Su Shun cheerfully exclaimed. Extraction successful. A new identity has been obtained. A top assassin. In addition to being the president of Qingyun Company, you also have another secret identity. A killer nicknamed Lord. Traces of your work can be seen all over the world. Your glorious name is passed from mouth to mouth by military dictators, drug lords, politicians, etc. No matter who you hunt, there is no escape for the victim. Subsequently, you have decided to retire and live a quiet life, but your enemy is on your trail. Soon the peaceful life will be over. Personality skills. Stealth, disguise, insight, minimal healing skills, excellent shooting and hand-to-hand combat skills. Task, resolve all troubles related to the new personality, survive. There is no time limit on completion. Warning. Once extracted, the personality will be valid permanently. After completing the task, the skills of this personality will remain with you forever. Su Shun and Li Tao were sitting at the table talking. The latter said, The police have confirmed the authenticity of the video, which means they can't get away with premeditated murder. They're facing at least life in prison. Death penalty, Su said lazily, holding a ballpoint pen in his hand. What? Did I hear you? I want them to be sentenced to death so that there will be no uncertainty from now on. Organize it. Yes, Li replied with lightning speed. He thought, having met a sworn enemy in business, he takes the opportunity to destroy the problem physically. Though he is young, few can compete with him in determination. As he left the office, he closed the door behind him. After he left, Su got bored and looked for something to do. Throwing down a few pieces of paper, he threw a pen at them. To his surprise, the pen pierced the center of the sheet. So much for the skill of a first-class assassin. You want to compete with me? A surprised bodyguard asked. Yeah, hit me with all your might, suggested Su, who had summoned him to his office. Oh well, I've heard that the rich have such quirks. Then hold on. The bodyguard put all his strength into the powerful punch. But contrary to his expectations, Su remained standing and his own arm was pierced by a hellish pain. President Su, you look like you're wearing armor. I think I've broken my arm. I'll look for a sparring partner somewhere else, Shun thought. Shun came to the gym with a ring, spun around, and as if by accident dropped a phrase. These will be too easy to beat. What did you say? The coach asked him. Kid, I personally raised these fighters. You think you can beat them easily, or are you just talking shit? No, I'm not here to shout bullshit from the audience. I'm dead serious. I'd beat them easily. Are you sick of living, kid? Will you risk going out with me one-on-one? Sure, thanks a lot, Su agreed happily. How does a chubby guy like you have the nerve to talk all this nonsense? If I don't kick your ass tonight, I'm going to close this place down. Don't be so overdone, it's just a sparring session. Several respectable-looking men entered the room. One of them asked, Mr. Han, are you happy with this place? Well, it's okay. I guess I didn't put all this money into your business for nothing. Han? Sue thought. What's he doing here? The opponents in the ring greeted each other. I came here to test my strength. Thank you for agreeing to fight, said Sue. Shun saw his opponent whispering with the stranger who had just run up. What? The trainer asked in surprise. What's the matter? What's the matter? Sue asked. Nothing. Meanwhile, the coach had something to hide. A man from the club told him, Mr. Han said that if you break this kid, he will give you 1 million. There was clearly something to think about. Well, let's exchange fighting experience, my friend, said the coach. And he thought to himself, tough luck, kid. Now you're the guarantee of my life. And he began to invite his opponent to fight, hitting his gloves against each other. Han Xiaocheng stood outside the ring in the crowd of observers. He asked him, What can you say about this fighter? I brought him from overseas for a fortune. His nickname is Wild Monster. He used to fight illegally, and he's killed a lot of souls. You'll see, it won't take him 10 seconds to break that boy's leg. But the fight didn't go according to plan. It could be understood by the lines of those talking. How did he dodge? Your fighter hasn't eaten porridge since morning? Does he know how to hit properly? Han's interlocutor tried to justify himself to him and rehabilitate his reputation. Don't worry, boss. It was nothing more than an accident. And he lashed out at the trainer. Get your shit together. Otherwise, I'll send you to sell your ass. And in the ring, the trainer, who had won many victories, could not overcome this fat guy. What's going on? How can you... I really want to test my strength and fighting skills, so hit at full power. The trainer in the ring was thinking, I see. You like to fool around. But when you decided to play cat and mouse with me, you made the worst mistake of your life. If you ask for death from the bottom of your heart, I won't deny it to you, he shouted. The audience cheered him on and cheered him on. It was clear that the trainer was a crowd favorite. Here we go. The monster's awake. Come on. Ah, I envy his muscles. Han Xiaocheng and his interlocutor also became visibly animated. That's it. My fighter is warmed up. There's no stopping him now. Especially to such a little sparrow. Heh, heh, heh. That's what happens when you take my girl away from me. Coach began a lightning-fast series of attacks. Na, ha, kia, haya, ha. But none of his strikes reached the target, and a tired-looking Sue asked, Can you be faster? Or is that the speed limit of your punches? You can't, huh? Were you born in the year of the rat? You're running all over the ring. Can you even hit me once? His trainer encouraged him. As you wish. In the next second, the trainer screamed in maddening pain. Ah, my arm! Han Xiaochen, who was watching the fight, gasped in surprise. Wow, I'm powerful. Sue looked at his gloved hand in amazement. And his opponent, lying defeated in the ring, was writhing in hellish agony. I'm going to die of pain. Call an ambulance. Let's get out of here. There's nothing more to do here, Han said to his interlocutor. Hey, Han Xiaocheng! A voice suddenly came from the side of the ring. Me? The owner of the place turned around, startled. Sue. President Sue, what a coincidence. What are you doing here? Young man, keep your distance, Han's personal guard demanded. Han Xiaochen, you recently asked your man to pass a message to my opponent, and I heard everything. It, S. Just a simple misunderstanding. Han excused himself, almost crying. So it's the first and last time. I'm not interested in you, but if you plot against me again, I'll kill you. Do you understand me? Of course. Good. I hope you remember my words and don't do anything stupid again. Su Shun left the room with a dismissive wave of his hand. Goodbye, President Su. Goodbye, President Su. Han and his entourage bowed to him. Han Xiaocheng was criticized from all sides. Who was that? He easily knocked out 2 of Han's bodyguards and slapped him in the face. The strange thing is that Han didn't even move. Wasn't he considered the most reckless of the Golden Youths? Han clenched his teeth in anger. The audience seemed to be getting very angry. That's it. Now his tough guy image is gone. He's just another spineless boy with a silver spoon in his mouth. And how much attitude that rag had. While passing by an internet cafe, Shun called Ziking. Beautiful, do you have time to have lunch with me? Actually, I'm studying. Listen to me. If you keep skipping classes like this, you'll be expelled sooner or later. I've already had a chance to talk to the rector, Sue said. Next week, I'll donate $3 million to the university to start an educational foundation, and he'll help me with the session in return. You're so... On the roof of the skyscraper, the gunman stood and coldly discussed the victim. Unimaginable, the Lord turned out to be so young. What does it matter? He will soon become a corpse anyway. Looking at Shun through the telescopic sight of the sniper rifle, the girl noted, It took so long to find him. Shun turned directly in her direction, and the assassin girl flinched in surprise. What's wrong? Her partner asked unhappily. I think he saw me. What? How could he see us from this distance? And where is he? Where did he go? The atmosphere of war, thought Sue, hiding behind the corner of the house. Did Han really send someone after my head? No, he couldn't have done it that fast. Apparently, the old detractors of my new identity are already here. Su Shun's villa. The bodyguard reports, President Su, I have added 30 more guards as you requested. We've also installed infrared sensors around your villa to secure the perimeter. If anyone comes near here, they'll know right away. Okay, well done. You can rest now. Yes. The sniper team in the car continued to maintain covert surveillance of the subject. He's amped up his security. No wonder he's retired if he's resorting to such primitive methods of security. Once the best of the best, the overlord is no more. Shun leafed through the pamphlet and pondered. The use of such methods of defense should put their guard down. We need to convince them of the presence of cheese in the absence of a serious mousetrap, and then break their spines in one move. The main question is how to choose the best moment to lure the snakes out of their burrows. Suddenly the phone rang, interrupting his train of thought. The caller was unknown. Hello? Shun answered uncertainly. Lord, how are you doing? But that voice, Sue realized. It belongs to Tony, the Lord's agent. Why is he suddenly contacting me? Didn't the Overlord retire? Tony, Shun rebuked him. How did you have the guts to call my number directly? That's not the way things are done in this business. Or have you forgotten the rules? Please don't get me wrong. I went against our rules for a reason. I have a big order for you, and it's easy to fulfill. Really? Sue was surprised. Tell me. The target is in China, not far from you. The main thing is that the client was exorbitantly generous. He's paying $5 million. And who's the target? If they're willing to pay such a huge sum for him. The president of a corporation. Nothing serious. It's a piece of cake for you. I'll email you the target's information. Oh, those rich people. Shun chuckled as he checked his email. Spending as much as $5 million for just one head. The laptop screen gave out the required information. Name, Su Shun. Identity, President of Qingyun International Corporation. At that time, Tony was lounging on the beach in the sunlight. His eyes were attracted by the girls in bikinis who were swimming and talking to each other. Let's go there. Ah. Well, Lord, are you interested? Agent Tony asked. The name of the customer. Lord, but the information about the customer. Hurry up. One way or another, I'll still get what I want. Or do you naively think I won't get you? That's right, Tony said, frightened out of his wits. Of course I'll tell you everything I know. To hell with the rules. The customer is also from China. His name is Han Xiaocheng. He's the son of the owner of a group of companies. Han Xiaocheng. You've been trying to get yourself killed for a long time. Lord, I had nothing to do with it. You have to believe me, Tony kept saying. What are you so busy with? Why can't I reach you? Zeking asked when she came into the office. Zeking? What are you doing here? Sue asked. What am I doing here? And who offered me dinner as a thank you? I forgot. I'm sorry. Zeking angrily grabbed his arm and defiantly turned away. Do you know how hard it was for me to get a reservation at that restaurant? If we miss it, you'll make it up to me. Of course I'll make it up to you. Zeking saw a big crowd outside Sue's mansion and asked, Why are there so many people around your house? Boss, are you going somewhere? A bodyguard asked. Yeah, take a few guys and follow us. The assassins continued to follow Shun, hesitating to make a public move. There's no point. It's too early to make a move today. Based on his actions, he's already spotted us. Let's wait for reinforcements. There's no hurry. At the same time, Zeking, in her dazzling white dress, continued to openly resent. See, I knew we wouldn't make it in time. They have this rule. If you're half an hour late, the reservation is cancelled. The next available reservation is only a month away. Su Shun stepped aside to make a phone call. Right. Who is at the M Grand Hotel? No, I don't want to expand the business. I want to eat there tomorrow. Okay, make a deal. What are you doing? Zeking asked. I'm buying this place. Let's eat here tomorrow. When she got home, a saddened girl said to her companion, Sit anywhere you want. I'll make you some noodles. Nobody else at home? Brother is abroad. Mom and Dad are in a meeting. The switch is behind the sofa. Turn on the light. What are you doing? Zeking exclaimed when Sue turned on the light and started kissing her. Don't do that, the girl said helplessly. Wait, you're not going to... and tried to protest as she felt Shun unzipping her dress. Don't. I'm not ready yet. Ziking whispered. Don't be afraid. I'll be very gentle. Sue convinced her and kissed her. At that moment, Ziking's parents entered the room. What are you? The head of the family began his interrogation, finding his daughter lying on the bed. Mom, Dad, didn't you go to the meeting? The meeting was postponed, and thank God, said Anantian. If he had time to put his pepper in your cabbage. Ziking said, It's not like ... it quote s, not what it looks like. Hello, you've got it all wrong. Sue tried to justify himself while buttoning his fly. We were just looking for a light switch in the dark, and we tripped and fell on the couch. And the switch was right there. I'll know. Did you unzip your fly to make it easier to find the light switch? Do you think I'm stupid? Shrieked the angry parent. I just have low-quality pants. Well, I have more to do. Good night. Gone. The curses from the side of the house echoed towards Shun for a long time. It's the boss, the bodyguard said melancholically, smoking a cigarette. Boss, you've finished so quickly again. The driver couldn't help but sneer. You're free to leave me alone. The angry Shun pressed the gas pedal to the floor with annoyance. I've already let the guards go, and still no killers. I guess I can't go after them today. No matter, I have one more excellent outlet to relieve myself. Entering his enemy's office, he asked the guard, Is Han Xiaocheng here? None of your business. Don't get in the way, the guard said with a powerful blow. Damn, I should start controlling my power, said Shun. Immediately, a second bodyguard pistol-whipped him with a shout of, Die! Sue easily intercepted his arm. The bodyguard asked in surprise, What's the matter? What's wrong with my gun? Son, it's too early for you to play with these things, Sue slapped him. You're done for the day. Outside the office door, Han was having fun with the girls, and the noise distracted him. If you don't shut up, I'll break your legs. Shun entered the office with a dazzling smile. Shit! What are you doing here? Han shouted, wrapped in a towel. The girls shouted, Ah! This is a matter of personal revenge, Shun said. All uninvolved people are asked to leave the room. You're full of energy, I see, since one at a time isn't enough for you. President Sue, if you're interested, I can personally select a few elite girls and send them to your address. Once again, I apologize for the events of today. It was very generous of you not to escalate the conflict. I didn't come because of what happened this afternoon, Sue said. Don't be afraid, boss, we're already here, the thugs who burst into the office shouted. With their appearance, Han had clearly become bolder and was no longer crawling around begging for mercy. Ah ha ha, you're suicidal. You should have thought of coming here alone. Wow, it's like you've been waiting for my visit, Shun cheered up the crowd. You let me go in public. Did you think you could get away with it? I'd just gotten the boys together, and you're the one who walked into the mousetrap. I'm glad you were so quick to do what you had to do. Teaching a poor chicken like you a lesson didn't give me a sense of victory, Sue replied, sitting down calmly. About a dozen thugs armed with pipes and clubs were just waiting for the signal. He won't shut his mouth even before he dies. Kill him so that he can never smile again. Everyone pounced on Shun, but after a few minutes the attackers were on the floor. What kind of nincompoops are you? Stop him, don't let him. Han was tearing up. The next moment he could only squeeze out a K. Sue had a firm grip on his throat. I don't think you've finished, Shun said. Just a few seconds and... What kind of monster are you? Don't you have any more tricks up your sleeve? Su-Shun, if you have balls, kill me. Otherwise you and I won't be finished. Even if you're unkillable. Can you guard NZ King 24/7? One call from me and she'll be kidnapped. And then a couple hundred guys will run her around in circles. You stop hitting me. If you touch NZ Jing, Sue warned, I'll find 100 ways to make your life scarier than death. Come on, I'm not afraid of you. You're just the president of the company. Or do you already think you're God? Shun Han tried to insult me. Your worst decision ever was spending $5 million on my head. How did you know that? Impossible. I found an elite agent, only he and a hitman called the Overlord could know about it. How did you... I am the Overlord. Sue attacked his opponent.